What's up, folks? And we're back here for episode 2 of season 2, BMF. Family Business is Tonight. Episode title, Lucas and I, your usual two, the host of tonight's recap and review. Man, what a crazy cliffhanger coming from last week with the return of Lamar, a character I was pretty sold that he was gone, he was done. And
ain't been this old since Kanan came back from the dead. It's crazy how this works.
And amongst a lot of things from last week, but going into this week now, definitely a lot of different things I want to touch up on. But overall, BMF is coming out the fit, swinging 2 banger episodes back to back for this season. Big names appearing. Donnell Rawlins, didn't see that one coming. just all of a sudden, and what does that mean? As Donnell Rawlins is playing a character, Lamar's cousin, playing a character Alvin, Lamar's cousin. What does that mean? Because Lamar's a certain individual, a person that we didn't think had any family. Matter of fact,
clearly, because wasn't brought up in the first season.
So he has family. And what would that mean that he has somebody aligned with him? He doesn't have a crew. He doesn't have a home. And there's definitely been some good tidbits and sayings in this episode. But one they didn't mention, but obviously it's a very common and popular one. It's talking about a dangerous man. A man has nothing to lose. It's typically one of the most dangerous people out there. So Lamar already dangerous. Times 2 now. It just makes me wonder what's next for Lamar as he escapes the hospital. He strangles the guy because instinctively that's the first thing he thought to do when he woke up out of his coma was to strangle the first person he saw, and then he's out of there.
So how does that? They're gonna have to explain how that works because you were stashing him away under a different name. He awakens and strangles a cop. At this point, what credibility are you gonna have with the force? They're gonna be like, wait a minute, we hid this guy because you said it was best to do it. He awakens. Not only will he not tell us who shot him, he possibly killed one of us and then escape. Like, what were we keeping him alive for? Like,
let's talk about the urgency here. When Detective Brian and them found out that he had escaped, and they was like, all right, yeah, but we're going to get the SWAT team to go get Meech because that seems to be our priority right now.
If they ain't just like giving us the foresight of just knowing just how horrible the cops are in real life also. They just like forget everything else. Yeah, he just strangled and murdered a cop, but who cares? We got to get Meech. Like, come on, man. It made no sense. You would expect like the entire force to come out. He strangled a police officer.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
What can we say, man? Again, Lamar now having, minimum time in the season thus far, but very impactful moments. And here we are again. We have him awaken to an iconic song last episode. And then in this episode, he doesn't get the song, thank God.
I'm about to say they missed a huge opportunity. Clearly, as he's choking the cop out, Stairway to Heaven from the OJ should have played. That'd have been perfect.
I was gonna go with I can't stand the rain again.
No. As the cop, as the life is leaving the cop's eyes, all you need to hear is that here we go. Climbing a stairway. Like that would be perfect for that scene right there, man.
And he got thrown into a hearse at that. So you're writing these very symbolic and metaphorical moments with Lamar. I'm loving it. Kofi, who plays him, is doing a fantastic job. And God, again, you talking about sneaking somebody through the back door. This is it, because no clue that this character was going to be alive, and here we go now, 2 episodes and really having this unexpectedly impact on the show. But yeah, we got a bunch of things to talk about as Meech looks to expand BMF into Cleveland, and Terry trying to make the honest dollar with the rideshare business with his father. He's also having his struggles with that as well. So you know, we also see the camaraderie, the brotherhood. You know, they're it's called Family Business, the episode, and we even see that when Terry having a wherewithal of potential dangers to his brother and to the business, that he shows up for him, he protects him, and I love this because I think you know, and not that we're the only show that do recaps, but hopefully a lot of other folks also picks up on this, because I don't think this is something that if you just watch and you're just watching this for entertainment, you don't pick up on, is that this level of camaraderie, and although it appears that they're just at foes with each other, that there's still a level of respect there. There's still a level of protection there, and they haven't said anything nice to each other. I mean, he says like, "Oh, that's his way of saying thank you, so I'll take it."
Said, that's a thank you from Meech. I'll take it. Like, it's, or him saying, even at the beginning when we hear Terry talk, and he says, you know, I left Meech in the game, and now he's with his father. He said, I left one Meech for another Meech. It's like the same person. So like it's like he can't escape it. But when he passes and finds out that they're doing the checkpoints, I would have expected his first instinct would be to protect his brother. Like, in the end, I could not like you, I can want to hurt you, but I don't want nobody else doing it. It's just me wanting it done. So like, we can beef all day, every day, but in the end, I'm always going to have your back. And you could tell Meech appreciated it. He just was being an ass about it.
Yeah. And I also, you know, because, you know, and there's a lot of like if you, and again, I don't expect the show to only be watched by Black folks, but for the folks who do not have that Black family experience, there's a lot of things you can pick up on. I mean, if you've ever been out of town and you've seen your cousin, especially when you and your family got this persona as if y'all are the breadwinners or like the bougie ones, you know, and you can pick up on all that. When they pulled up in the bins, they threw all the slanders I would expect them to hear. Like, oh, I guess they getting $1. Oh, they living good. They eating good out there. You know what I mean? And it's just normal banter amongst family. But the big thing is when Meech comes out, he automatically says, and although his mind was already made that he wanted to make the expansion into Cleveland, it's still the idea of saying, nah, I got to show little cuz how I roll. It was a lot of, I need to put on that persona so you can see how I am. And those are the little things you kind of pick up on, is that like, there's always a plan, but there's also just a level of just the family orientedness in terms of Black families, and what we've seen in display. So, you know, like the father and the son not getting along, and then the mother and dad, that's a whole nother thing we got to talk about here. But the brother's obviously here.
I thought you was gonna hit on the other hugely important part of Black family that's in this episode.
We talked about it.
No, and that is the parent putting bills in your damn name.
I said that. We talked about it.
Good God Almighty. When she did it, that was the funniest shit in the world to me. Because who hasn't had a cable bill or two put in their name growing up?
Am I having a moment, or did me and you talk about this? Because I know I had this conversation. Okay, cool. Yeah.
Even how to get it off. Like, you know, you can always just say, hey, this is before I was 18. I don't think this is my bill.
There's a lot of folks out here who have houses in their name that they never knew they were a homeowner. But and listen, it's so funny because if it wasn't a Sears, it was a J.C. Penney's.
Hey, man.
It might have been an Ames. You know, you
Damn, if somebody put an Ames credit card in your name. Oh man, I'd be so mad.
What was Kmart before Kmart? God, it just came to my head. What was Kmart before Kmart?
Hey man, I didn't grow up with Kmart's. I had a Woodworth and Lothrop by me when I grew up uptown DC.
Oh, shit. What the hell was Kmart before Kmart? Hey, yeah, you might have got an Ames or People's Drugs.
People's Drugs.
Hey, So yeah, there's a lot of little things that the show is doing that I'm really appreciating. And I think that again, and again, shout out to all the other folks who do recaps and whatnot. But hopefully, if you're not getting your insight here, you're getting it from someplace else. There is a lot of just stuff at surface level that is fun and entertaining. But there's a lot of other very important tidbits that you can pick up on. That some of us like us, we will be able to kind of break down for you so you can get that perspective about it. And like there was a lot in this, so that's why I loved it. And talk about the brothers banter, the husband and wife issues, the family throwing shade before shade was shade, but actually it wasn't even a little bit of shade. It was kind of people were actually believing that. It's like, oh, they're fancy. Little did they know the real struggles behind the door.
Hey, that's what family do though. They will put on that facade for you. and again, that's why I love the conversation between the mother and the grandmother. When the mother let it know, like, I did this for you, and her mother saying, I was already proud of you. Like, none of that meant anything to me. Because that's the real meaning of family. Yeah. And not feeling the need to have to put on the show every time. Not having to be the rich uncle, auntie, brother, sister that come into town and I got to flash and money to everybody. Like, man, that shit it's tiring. Okay? I don't want nobody else coming to ask me for money.
Listen.
Like, nah.
This is exactly why when the grandma dies from the family disintegrates. Because you see how the grandma is anchoring everything. Easily, the conversation that the grandma had with Lucille automatically screwed Lucille's head back on to come back home to try to freshen things up in the household. Because she said it feels like me and Charles are roommates. And the first thing she says, it comes back. And she's looking in the mirror, looking at herself. And I know that seems like a thing of like saying like, oh, do I look cute? But no, that's a moment of self-reflection that she's having here. Yeah. Thinking about everything that her mom had told her and thinking about how she can make this atmosphere in this house better. What can she do to do things better? So like, yeah, and that's like got to be the realest thing. Anybody who's ever lost a grandma in their family know that like the family is in turmoil after that, because that one conversation potentially sends that household in a better direction than where it came from. Yeah. So, but yeah, fantastic episode. Let's start from the top. You mentioned Terry talking about Charles being the new boss, the new Meech, and he left one Meech and now he got another. Funny moment there. But we see him still trying to work out the rideshare business, the car share business, the Flannery ride business, and he kicks dude out the car because Terry is being portrayed as a hothead.
Well, he's a youngin'. I mean, what would you expect as a young kid? This is only so much that you're built to be able to withstand as it pertains to disrespect, especially him coming from a business beforehand where nothing of that nature would ever be tolerated. So now he's stuck in, like, man, I'm not gonna let this dude talk to me any type of way.
It's just, I agree. I just mean, like, this is the first time we see Terry kind of lose his cool to an extent. I mean, Terry's always been the business centric, the level minded. This is why Big L wanted to work with Terry and not Meech. I don't personally think to make anything of this, but I thought it was interesting to kind of show Terry in another light that we haven't really seen him be portrayed as, whether it was the documentary or whether it was season 1. We haven't seen Terry be explosive unless it comes to his brother. So
see, I just took it as it being a correlation of what he has to deal with a new business that he would have never had to deal with in his old business. Like that's the correlation I got. Like, oh, okay, like it's showing like this is disrespect is expected in his rideshare new old Uber pool business versus
Uber pool. It definitely was.
It was Uber pool. He created the first Uber pool later on there at the airport. But like we just see like this again. This is not a level of disrespect that would have been allowed.
Yeah,
if he was still in the drug game, because it can't be allowed. But here he's expected to not only be disrespected, but to do it with a smile on his face. As his dad says when they meet, like, expect it. It's gonna happen. But it's hard to tell a kid who's used to making lots of money, being in a different atmosphere, that level of disrespect would be okay.
Yeah. No, for sure. 1,000%. Oh man, the Uber pool days. I only did one in my life and it was the wildest night ever.
Never ever in my
One
life.
and done. One and done. It's just
I
literally the
understand.
worst.
I understand. There's a lot of people out there that you needed an Uber and money was kind of low. Ain't no way in hell. It's bad enough I'm getting in a car with one stranger. I'm not getting in a car as you. Oh shit! Let me stop faking. I had one Uber pool at Made in America in like 2018, and it was the worst experience in the world. Like, it was the worst experience in the world, and that's because we had no choice. Like, it's a music festival, everybody there, and boy, did I get in the wrong Uber pool with the wrong non-melanated folks who love to touch all over you.
Oh,
like, it
boy.
was a horrible Uber pool.
Oh boy.
But again, like, this is just a funny correlation to the two of seeing him do this, because he was either Terry started an Uber pool or a dollar van. It was one of the two.
Oh man. So now we we have this ice cream date that goes down with and by the way, again, folks, we'll probably tie the correlations as long as we can in our season 2 recaps and review. But if you have not seen the BMF documentary, definitely take a look at that, because there have been a lot of discussion in terms of who is who when you talk about who Lamar is portraying, and when we got K9 introduced in the trailers, you start to say, well, who is K9? Who is he a mixture of, or who is he? I mean, and by the way, K9 was mentioned in season 1. In a very, very small moment of talking about Big L. K9 had sent Big L, so like, K9 the character exists in season 1 as I mentioned, but then you go to the documentary and you start to say like, well, who's who, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. K9, or should I say Dog, aka K9, is the correlation here, as K9 and Meech have ice cream together to talk business, because what other better way to talk about making a shit ton of money than to get some nice, fresh, soft served ice cream?
hey, man, back in the day, that would be the move to make. And again, he was, and I love the point that he did it to show him what it means, or had the conversation about diversifying, making your money clean, investing in something like this, because it flips everything for you.
Yeah.
Like, it's a good conversation to have. And in the 80s, everybody had Dairy Queen. I mean, this is before McDonald's shut down the game with the ice cream machine, and then decided late in the 90s to cut that motherfucker off at every location. Like, so, like, Dairy Queen was the place to go to.
Oh my god, that's funny as hell. And obviously we meet K9's girl, and everything is chill until a drive-by happens, and everybody get up and starts to shoot back. There's a lot I want to talk about here, because there's some things that are worth mentioning because I think it's significant, and then there's things that should be mentioned because I got fucking questions. Okay, I'm gonna say one thing right now. Unless Usain Bolt is after me, I'm never getting the fuck out of my car. Because I'm gonna outrun everybody. Usain might catch that car. That might be a different story there. Who knows?
I didn't know if it was shot somehow and the car stopped operating. Maybe a tire got hit, because I didn't know the reason he got out the car. I was highly confused. Unless he was there's literally no reason. At least for 3 or 4 blocks, I could get and dump that car out after that, but I'm not like right at the scene of the crime while they're still right there behind me and I can see them getting out the car. That was a bit wild.
Yeah. So that's my point of what the fuck. But then the other thing is too, Meech is not a killer. But my man got out shooting. So I'm just wondering here, is this a sign of him flexing to stay in good graces?
Was Meech shooting, or did Meech have a gun in his hand?
Okay.
I was trying to see where I saw him pull the actual, we see K9 shoot. We see everybody else shoot. Meech had a gun in his hand. I wasn't sure if he actually shot the gun off.
Okay.
Because Meech ain't a gun dude. That's not how he operates.
Yeah.
He may use it to threaten, but he's not like arbitrarily just gonna start shooting it.
Yeah. But So that's my other point. Thank you for backing me up there. But Cinderella runs up out of his Nikes because why not?
Exactly.
You had the lead in the car, and you had so much confidence in your run game. You ran up right about your shoe, and I just like how K9 is just like, yeah, we're going to get him because we got his shoe, and we'll match that. I think that I actually did not know where that was going to go.
Bibbidi boppity boo. Right there. Hey man, that was a perfect line. The moment he said it, we got his shoe. Bibbidi boppity boo. Like that, I'm like, okay. Because other than that, I'm confused. Like, am I just running around random niggas in the hood? But he knew who it was, so that was the key part. He knew exactly who it was. Yeah. The shoe thing was just a nice correlation to have.
Yeah. No doubt. K9 with all the funnies in this episode.
Hey, because that was a hell of a line right there. And we got his motherfucking shoe.
My man Ray having a hell of a time with this character, man, and he got such a insane story with this. So you all got to check that out in the interview if you haven't already. Insane story with this casting. But Lucille now in the house, she's cleaning up, freshening the house up a little bit. It's just typical. It's probably Sunday. She want to make sure listen. Back in the day, back in the 80s, there wasn't sage, all right? They didn't have that then. The way how you make the house clean, you just gotta go around and you gotta have like the most insanely amount of OCD, just touching everything. That because that guitar case definitely did not need to be opened because that's the counter of cleaning. Because that's like a kid with a toy. You're just like, no, I put it away. There's no reason for you to pull that back out, But
she was feeling it at that point. As you said, it's the 80s. She probably had on woman to woman, cleaning the house up, a little angry. And then came across that guitar case.
Listen, they had to cut this scene real short because Lord knows if this had been a scene that they gave like 3 or 4 more minutes, we would have heard Lucille say, and my woman's intuition told me this was your spank jar. Hey. I knew you were keeping these 30 filthies in the Lord's house.
Damn it, did you call it a spank jar?
Not in the Lord's house did you not bring this.
Oh man. Back in the day when you had to buy porn on magazines. I mean, you kids will never understand the struggle of having to get porn off magazines or on VHS tapes. Oh man, that was a struggle. Now y'all got it all on your phones everywhere. Nah, Joe. You had to hide those magazines places.
And she went right to it. Listen, my man has been sex deprived, so he had to figure it out. And I'm thinking to myself, like, I wonder if she's going to trip or not. And she didn't trip because I wonder if she started to blame herself at this moment when she saw that. I think
possibly just because what we saw in the first episode, when he was trying to initiate sex with her and she kind of blew him off. So I think she understands where they stand in their relationship. But also, she's still a holy woman. Like it's hard for her possibly to like separate the two. Like my husband is spank bank magazines and all this stuff, and he black, so he probably had. You ain't had Playboy. You had to have like Penthouse where they showed everything. And, Larry Flint had the girls, widen that joint up so you could see what's inside of her. Like you needed, and I think that's possibly what drove her to question everything.
Yeah.
And because she kind of went into a depression after that.
Yeah.
Wondering like, what does this mean? What does this mean for my marriage that he's doing this? What am I doing wrong that I'm not pleasing my husband? But it also made her look at how she's struggling in life. Like from the first episode to this episode, I think a running theme has been, I'm not where I'm supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
And when someone has that going through their mind, sex is the last thing on your mind. At times it can make you push people away, and she's been pushing him away. And maybe that's why she slips. Maybe that's why she questions everything. Yep. That's why she doesn't go immediately into blaming him. Because if she was doing everything that if she was living a life that she wanted to live, and he did this, she went off. But I love the point that they actually show a grown woman here with some self-reflection. Understand, like, maybe it's partially on me that he has to do this.
Yeah, I you said self-reflection. You said it. You surprised that they showed the woman having accountability for potential issues in the house.
Because we know that that's not something that happens. So the point they actually not grown women, yes. Them other ones, nah, Joe, you the got blamed. She'd have ripped it up. She'd have burned your guitar case and waited for you to come home and said, "See, I found your little spank bank stuff in the guitar case. Well, the guitar case ain't here no more. I burned it. Find something else to self-pleasure yourself with, you bastard." It'd have been so much other stuff. But here, this is two people who were in love in a marriage. They're struggling to understand their place now. And because of it, we see the separation starting to happen between the two.
Yeah.
And that's just her. This was just another nail in possibly her marriage and make her say, "Oh man, where's this going?" Like, and she said, "I feel like we're friends. Like we're not friends. We are
roommates.
Roommates at this point. Like we're doing nothing else. We're not living a married life anymore."
Yeah.
That's a hell of a thing to say.
Yeah. Nah, for real. So she talked about some of the responsibilities here. So said, "Listen, my mama need a gift. Nicole needs some stuff." And he said the money tight, but okay. And the mom, she gonna make a way because she made her way right to the mall, right to Sears, because she had to get Nicole some bras. And ladies, I completely sympathize with you all happened to buy 2 bras, and that's $102 right there.
Hey, okay, I did not know.
From
Excuse my vulgar language, I'm about to use it just for this moment because I think it drives home the point. I did not know it costs this much money for y'all to secure your titties. This is ridiculous. Like bras and prices of bras, but again, this is something men don't know a lot about. Women definitely was like, "That sounds about right. Yes, that's how much it would cost." And again, and the Sears lady did what they did in the 80s. Whenever you go to buy something, sure, you just want to open up a little account. You be good.
80s. They still be doing that shit right now.
Oh shit. You can't even hold up. But at least now they at least check to make sure you're 18. In the 80s, they didn't care. Just give them a name. We open this credit card up for you. All we need is a name and a social. We ain't checking nothing else. Just a name and a social.
Yeah.
But you see the joy that comes along when she decides to make that move and she goes back to her daughter, like, "Go pick the cute ones. I'm gonna get me a dress." We haven't seen her feel joy besides when she sees Meech from time to time. Other than that, the mom Lucille's never joyous. Here, she was so joyful, like that she was able to do this. Yeah. Like that show again, family business. It's showing us a lot about the dynamics of this family. That this is what brought her joy.
Yeah,
not seeing her husband every day, not even eating at the table with him. It was this that brought her joy. That's a hell of a thing.
Yeah. Yeah. So she opened up that card. Thank you, Nicole. You'll know in let's say about 5 years when you got that 520 credit score and you're like, I haven't even had any credit.
She got that 520 on the spot, which means the moment she got that Sears card with that 86% interest. Sears was like the mob back then, Joe. That $100, those bras that cost $100, you're now on tag for thousands of dollars.
Oh man. We go back to T and Charles and talked about throwing the customer out the car, and he's like, "Listen, customers are the boss." And then the whole plan about their expansion, you need to hire a third driver. They got 4 cars when they got the settlement, so you got to bring somebody in, and that should help us with our insurance cost. So
premium,
yeah, insurance premium, yep.
Now, be Mickey. Hold up, but let's go over the most important part here of Charles then saying, "Hey, we got to do this because the insurance money is running out, and once it runs out, we're dead." So you're telling me that we opened up a business that's making nothing, and they're technically still living off of Terry's money? That's crazy.
Yeah.
We said in first season one that he only there for the money.
Yeah, for sure. Trust the process is what he's preaching at this point. He's trying to get everybody buy-in.
Clearly, he need this business to turn into Joel Embiid real quick, and not Ben Simmons like it's looking like it's going.
Yeah, if his luck is any like my parlays, he's screwed. You gotta do better out here. Anywho, so B Mickey taking care of his mom. We see her at the medical facility.
DC General.
What's the drug called? God, what's the PG? What's the PG mall called? What's the drug off 295 right before you get into DC? Is that just called PG?
Yeah, that's his PG hospital.
Yeah. I was just saying, when you talk about the worst of the worst.
Hey, man, PG hospital is good for one thing. If you get shot, you got good service. If you get shot, if you go in there with a pinky toe hurt, you're gonna die. But if you got a bullet wound, you may live. That's all they can do. That's all they good for is bullet wounds, Joe. They are not good for any other service.
But somebody dropped his mom off flowers. Who'd you thought did it at this point?
I would have thought Meech.
I thought so. I thought Meech too. That's why I wanted to ask. Surprisingly enough, is Detective Bryant, because Detective Bryant is turning into one of Lucas's favorite characters from Power.
I swear he is. Fucking Brian Rodriguez up here dropping flowers off and shit.
Brian Rodriguez. Fawn Knots out here.
Exactly.
I swear. These cop characters are infuriating, dog. They just get on your nerve, dog. And here he goes. And
before the doc, we thought they weren't realistic. And then the doc comes, and you're like, oh, they are realistic. This is ridiculous. This is actually how they operate. Man.
Can I tell you how funny it is thinking about the documentary about how much participation you got from the cops? The fact that all of them are just like, yeah, hey, you mind if I get like an intro? Like, can you watch me coming in through to sit down? It's like, yeah. Hey, could you like touch up on the lighting a little bit? Brush my makeup a little bit. Can I have a scene right after 50? I want to make sure they see me next. Like, them motherfuckers probably had the most wildest.
I'm gonna walk in with a box so it looks like I have important documents right now on Meech at this moment.
They probably asked, could they actually bring the records? I actually got them. They're at home. You want me to bring? I could bring those if you want. You want me to wear the suit I had on that press conference that year? I could do that if you want.
It was the black dude who was supposed to be the coolest nigga in the room.
With the Bluetooth,
pimping to sit down, and he had that damn Bluetooth in his ear. I said, of course he's a cop in his 60s with that damn Bluetooth.
But Detective Bryant, and Mom asks us about Kato. That's a moment I wish they gave a little bit more, just a little bit more time with. Yeah, I want to see the emotion here, because obviously, we know B Mickey is bothered by that, but he's also struggling with his mom and the situation with his mother. Mm-hmm. He's also struggling because he's living a double life here. So I want to know what nerves get struck when you bring up Kato. They kind of zoomed out of this and kind of took that potential emotional moment out, because it's not saying I want B Mickey to be sitting here crying. I'm just saying, like, we want to know what's triggering this guy right now. And to me, if you have to kind of say amongst his top 5 things that's bothering him, you say, okay, Detective Bryant's probably 2, because he's just always there. He's a little bit of a pest right now. And then you say, well, his mother is, how concerned is he with his mother? Is maybe 3. So the Meech must be like 4. He's really kind of brushing that off, living a double life. Kato, is that 1 or is that 5? It's hard to tell if the whole Kato thing is actually really affecting him. And I think, obviously this could be a moment we could just not care about, but I think if we want to actually invest into this character, I think we need to know, like, where's his mind at? And I think they missed the moment right here to kind of dive into that just a little bit more, because Mom bringing up where's Kato is a big thing. That's your mom in her bed, at the hospital, asking about his ex-girlfriend. Big.
And where is she at? Like, that's a crazy thing to ask. And again, it does. We do need to see the importance of that with B Mickey because he seems all over the place right now. Like at times we think he's snitching, at other times is he throwing Detective Brian off? But then in the end, we know what Detective Brian has on him. How is that weighing on him? Partially is with Kato. How's that weighing on him? His relationship with Meech. Like again, and for her to bring up another element of this with him in a relationship being Kato, like that is something you just maybe a few more seconds on it to show him reflect on it. That's what we were looking more of. It's something we get from him later on in the episode when he's talking to Detective Brian and he brings up Meech and we see the look on his face when they have that conversation after he moves his mom to a different facility. He said, we family now, and we see B Mickey's face. Like we just wanted that reflection when they talked about Kato.
Yes, exactly. Because everyone is throwing out that proposition to B Mickey left and right that we're family. So now he's going to have to distinguish what is family, number one, and who actually is family, you know? And yeah, so it's like, you know, where's his loyalty going to lie? We're going to be diving into that, I could imagine, a lot this season. So we got wait, am I way down my notes? I'm about to say, wait, we didn't talk about this yet. This is when where Terry starts to talk to Nicole about what he's gonna do. He says he's gonna take all the kids. Oh, this is Meech, not Terry. So when Meech comes home to the house because they're getting ready to go to Grandma's house in Cleveland, and he comes in and he says, man, I'm gonna take all the kids in the hood to see Coming to America. So this is to me, like this is significant, and it doesn't sound like a joke, but it's significant because this is what all hood legends did. All of the big homies around the way did it. I got homies right now that went and took people and, you know, to see Black Panther, filled up the of course, you know, these things. Yeah, when Coming to America came out, you know, they did the same thing. So
Coming to America was rated R too.
Yes,
it's a lot of stuff that kids shouldn't have seen.
One adult and the whole audience, and it's okay.
A lot of stuff the kids should have seen it coming.
Or the hood theaters where they don't even care because you're just going in regardless.
Hey, no, I grew up in a theater that showed The Color Purple for 3 years in a row. I grew up right in Ontario, and they showed The Color Purple for 3 years in a row, Joe. It's ridiculous. In a theater that only has one movie theater. One theater, one screen. They show The Color Purple.
Makes sense. The reason why I even said to even take a moment to even stop here is because, like, as we start to see Meech turn into the legend of Big Meech that we know he will become, this is a significant moment of who taught him that this was the move. Was because K9's preaching the gospel left and right. He's learned stuff from I won't call him Ed. God, what's his name? From Pat. Thank you. And he learned a lot from Pat. Learned shit from his dad. But like he's learned these things, and like as we want to go along seeing the formation and sort of the building of BMF, it's still a lot to saying the building of T, the building of Meech. And this is the big moment of him coming home, telling his sister, like, man, I'm about to take all the kids to the hood to see Coming to America. It's a big thing to me. I again, because this is a big significant moment of him understanding when you want to, I keep saying gimmick because he really did live this life, but you know, for lack of better words, when you start to see him really build this gimmick, you know, these are things that you learn. You know, we can kind of correlate back to wrestling again. It's like, hey, you know, you could come out and you think you're Ric Flair because you can strut, you can woo and all that other stuff, but do you got the robe? Do you have the robe? Do you have the blonde hair? Do you have the stage presence? These are all the different tools
that goes along with being that character.
Exactly. And this is a part of the aesthetic is, you know, you got the chain, you get the respect, you know, but then understanding giving back to the community in a way that like is, you know, if you want to call it that. But yeah, it's just a big thing that he kind of threw that out there. But anyway, he goes to says that he's grandma's favorite. And obviously, this is all roads leading to Cleveland. I am going to get tired of keep having to mention parts of this episode of this. I should have just truncated it all together, but here we go with iteration number 2. Detective Bryant and B. Mickey.
I think we can just lump it all together here because they meet way too much in this shit.
For real.
But I wanted to say, like, Detective Bryant is stalking B. Mickey. Every time I come around, you hear you like Michael Myers, Joe. Like every corner he comes around, Detective Bryant is there.
Yeah. So he talks about, like, you know, why you got your mom in this trash hospital. Point taken. He also mentioned what you said last week. He would mention his ex-wife again, and he certainly did. He said he was loyal to his ex-wife till she stabbed him in the back. He gonna keep talking her up until she actually come and stab him in the back. Like, this motherfucker. Yeah. And then he says, you know, give me something on Meech. Meech is out of town. He's going to Cleveland. Blah, blah, blah. Give me you got 72 hours to give me something good. There's that. T goes.
Another threat.
Yeah, just another threat. T goes to see Markeisha, because of course he did. And he wants to know about, this is a funny moment in this episode, because big, bold in my notes is, did my man ever fucking get the quote? Because he said, T went to ask, how much would it be if I added a third driver? And did she tell him? No. Because what she did was give recommendations. He asked for a number. She said, what you should be worrying about is blah, 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 blah. Which was, yes, it was definitely good advice, you know.
Great advice.
Yeah, for sure. Wasn't a question. You know, what's the balance?
But I asked for a number.
Yeah. what's the balance on my card right now? And they're like, you know what? I think I should refinance. I didn't fucking ask that, okay? Like, I
Stop
just
giving me unsolicited good advice. Give me what I asked for.
I for whatever reason, I just could not get over that. I was just like, wait,
you know why?
Did he ask? Did she ask her?
He asked for the quote. She turned around. He saw her posterior. I'm trying not to say ass. And lost focus. And he no longer cared about a quote. He said, quote what? Like, okay. And then she clowned him and said, you know, make sure it's not another teenager like you. Which further lets you know, if him and Markeisha gets together, she's nasty. Because he clearly is a teenager and she clearly isn't one. I need to see where this goes to. But the 80s was a wild time then. Wild time.
Yep. Hey, but listen,
but a number was a real thing.
And she was at that basketball game because, do you think she cared who scored the buzzer beater? Or was she seeing who was going to pull up to that giant?
Hey, you know, some of them, they hunt down the stars. They understand. Mm-hmm. They trade them like baseball cards.
She was at Pat party. Mm-hmm. But Pat out of Dodge now. So now who the next big thing so she can get that VIP access, you know?
Hey, it's a great song by Jay-Z called Fallen that tells this entire story. Just listen to it. Why you need to be very careful with the women you deal with in the game.
But yeah, she says the real money's at the airport. You need to get the refreshments and everything. And meanwhile, Terry's in La La Land. He's listening to whatever Markeisha says, and he's just looking at her and all this other stuff. And that's just what it is. And little did she know that she's every bit of the reason why when you get in the Uber, you get a phone charger in the back, you get gum, hand sanitizer. I mean, somewhere down the line, she deserves a credit for this, you know? But we're gonna keep joking about this Uber, Lyft, rideshare shit.
So true.
Oh man! So one of my favorite parts of this episode is, much like I said in the beginning, they get to Cleveland now. They pull up in the Benz, and the family is having at it. Oh, said Uncle Charles, did he hit the lottery? Is Wendy giving out raises? And they just got all bits of the joke, but you know, Lucille, Nicole, and Meech
drug money. Mm-hmm. But again, it's another thing to bring a highlight to. You wouldn't take $100 from Meech, and you actually need it. But to stunt on your family, you have no issue riding his car. Just think about that for a minute. To stunt on my family, I have no issue riding your drug mobile. Yeah. But any other way, I don't want any parts of you or that business. Like, that's just crazy.
And don't forget, on Nicole, stunt on your kids, because Nicole bought that dress. Don't forget that.
Hey, no bullshit. No bullshit. Nicole did buy that dress. I was just surprised mom didn't ask Meech for the money to pay off the Sears card. Like, hey Meech, could you give me a couple $1,000 so I can pay off the Sears card? Because you already know if it was like $400,
she ran 1,000 up that quick.
Oh no! It's a Sears card. It's a Sears card. 400. It costs you 2,000. So you have to pay that Sears card off, Joe.
That 88% interest for that.
Hey.
Somehow, some way,
with introductory rate, introductory charge of $250. You know they can get you up front, Joe.
Somehow, some way, Sears has weathered the storm. They still are in rotation.
I don't know
That's
how the hell
it's a miracle.
It's a Sears in existence at this point.
It's a miracle.
At this point, Sears is somebody's front business. Ain't no motherfucking way in hell a Sears should ever exist at this point.
Yeah. Yep. Mm-hmm. But Meech, he got talked to his cousin. Said, "Listen, you hooked me up with your person. I'm trying to expand, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera." Funny thing is when Grandma asked Meech what he did, and he said he was still in sales, Nicole face when she was just like, he lying, and then Lucille grabs her arm stronger so that she wouldn't have a moment. I watched this scene twice because I thought it was one thing, but it ended up being what I just said. I literally thought Nicole's face was getting so excited because I thought Grandma was holding her hand too strong. If you've ever had a grandma moment and she's holding your hand, Grandma ain't letting that thing go for about 3 days, all right? And the moment when Grandma's like, "Come in, baby, tell me how it going," you gotta know. You gotta hold that thing for about 3 to 4 days, and that's just what it is. And I thought Nicole was having one of them antsy moments, like, "Grandma, you gonna let me go?" And Grandma, no, you gonna listen to me right now, baby. You gonna listen to me.
Hey, it's hard. Listen, it's hard. It is hard. I try my best. I got one grandparent left, and boy, those hugs just become more and more uncomfortable. Like, I just want like a couple seconds. No, baby. So you're like, damn it.
24 to 48 hours, 3 business days. Oh man. Anyway, but yeah, that's so Meech, getting ready to set up shop in Cleveland. Now, when Meech go to meet Terrell, and he told him, like, he got the best white girl in town. He said he could step on it 3 times and still be better than wherever they get it from.
That's that is close to pure at that point.
I mean, they're getting it from Colombia. So, especially in the 80s,
I mean, Colombian Coke was pure in the 80s, but that's Franklin Van Saint pure.
I mean, it's
3 times.
It's the same period, though. That's what's significant.
It's the same time period.
It's the same period. Yeah, and that's why, like, and I hope at some point during the season we do, and I think we do, because in the trailer we see Meech with the mink, and it looks like he's in Vegas. I hope to have that moment of Meech meeting Rick Ross and if we get Rayful Edmonds again, that'd be dope. But like, we have that moment of them understanding or just a conversation amongst y'all, because at this point now it'll be interesting to know who's getting what from where exactly at this moment. So we know Meech is getting it from Colombia, which, as you mentioned, Franklin Saint, aka Rick Ross, got it from Colombia at a point too, but he's on the West Coast, and it's just wondering, like,
he got it from the United States government through Colombia. Let's be clear.
I wasn't gonna get our channel flag, but it's okay.
Hey, I mean, this is facts at this point. We know he got. I mean, Rick Ross has said it on the record that he got his stuff through the United States government. It is what it is. So don't blame us. Blame him. We didn't say it. We're just quoting here.
What was where was everybody getting their stuff from the East Coast, New York, DC? Where was everybody getting stuff from then? Just
same place. Up you go. I mean, Miami ain't that far away.
Okay, that's what I was thinking. But Miami, by way of yeah.
I mean, everything travels.
Yeah, I don't know why Colombians aren't allowed to be like, I don't know, like just one of those what do we call them, like Guam and
U.S. islands, because that's what Guam is.
No, not a U.S. territory. That's the word.
U.S. territory,
yeah. Because at this point, I mean, we was in the same bed for like 20, 30, 40 years here. Just
you said 24, 30 years, like we still ain't. They ain't stopped buying shit from Colombia yet. Like, come on now.
All right, folks are like, all right, yep, just a little bit more on him, and we'll be.
Hey! That's why I had to catch myself when I was saying some things. I was like, "Oh, wait,
just a little bit more here."
Before Burke Rodriguez Bryant comes after me.
So Lamar's awake and he strangles Cuz, and that's the end of that. And he escapes from this secured location because he is under protection.
Where did he escape to? How?
Well, there used to be this commercial, and it was these lollipops, and it was this owl that people used to ask how many licks does it take to get to the center of the Tootsie Pop. He used to say this thing right at the end: "The world may never know."
Because I was like, wait a minute, he's in a room and he didn't go through the door.
Mr. Owl moment.
He go out the window?
Mr. Owl moment. Yeah, did he go out the window? No, clearly he didn't, because if he did, we saw somebody try to go out the window later on the episode, and so just let you know. Yeah, that tactic don't work.
And I'm pretty sure he's not on the half floor of a hospital. I'm pretty sure that's not where you would want him to be hidden at.
Yep. So Detective Brian is getting coached by his partner. What's her name? It just slipped out of my mind. But his partner, the new
he's constantly racist too.
Yeah, because she puts him on to Hot Pot, which is a dope thing if you never had it. It is a Korean. It's a Chinese cuisine. And it's not Korean, is what I was gonna say. And my man looked like a deer in the headlights when he saw those chopsticks. He was just like, "Oh, what's this?" And of course, he's gonna say, now the second most racist thing that he said. No, also,
the most racist thing was,
you're right. Yeah, you're right. Is there cats and dogs in this? So yeah, I mean, yeah, this is definitely on par for 80s bullshit.
Hey, carryouts. We all assumed at one point in time that that's where all the cats went missing. It's an area carryout. But and we never stopped us from ordering.
And the FDF's never shut them things down either. Exactly. They come through hard. They'll shut a food truck down in a heartbeat. And that Jamaican food truck you was in love with that you don't see no more. Just now. Just now.
But Eddie's, it's been on the corner of Minnesota Avenue for 80 years. With a never having a clean floor, still open, no matter what.
Yeah.
Even during the pandemic. Everything's shut for coronavirus but a curry out. It's crazy. I'm telling you.
Oh man. When she yelled out meow, I bust out laughing. Funny as hell.
Yeah.
Funny as hell. T goes to the airport now. So he's at the airport taking the advice of Markeisha. And he says, listen, she told him what to look for. He looks for it. He says, look, a shuttle to the west side from the airport, because my man said, listen, the shuttles, taxis and whatever. Yeah, they don't go that way. So he said, fine, we go deep east and west side. Let's do it. And everybody jump in because Uber Pool is lit, you know? And I just want to say, like, there's something seriously wrong with this thing. Seriously wrong. Because
which part?
Because we know the idea, and you don't even have to know geographics to understand what's being said here. They saying that motherfuckers don't go to the hood. They don't go to the west side. They don't go to the east. That's just they just don't feel safe there for whatever reason. Probably because a lot of black people there and poverty and all sorts of this other shit, right? Right. Makes sense. So of course black cuz, you know, look however you want, but he may still live over there. That's perfectly fine. Yep. But when I seen that white chick jump in the car in the back, I'm like,
in the hood.
Where the fuck you going? Nah, where you
going? To the hood too. She's going to the hood too. Like, look, hey, again, this is a great moment. I don't know if it still happens because everybody does Ubers and cabs don't exist anymore. But back in the day, cabs would tell you, you'd be like, hey, I'm going, so they'd be like, oh yeah, I'll go there. Like I could drop you off a couple blocks beforehand. Or, I mean, I used to live in a neighborhood that couldn't get like Domino's pizza delivered.
Yeah.
Like, they'd be like, nah, we ain't coming over there, man. We've been robbed too many times in that neighborhood. So again, this is a real depiction of a real problem of it being in these, as Terry put it, underprivileged, underserved neighborhoods. Like, if you get in on that market, you can make a killing because the people have no other way to get where they need to get. And I know it did throw you off because the white woman did look kind of professional. You'd be like, gentrification didn't exist back then. Like, where are you going, white lady? And she had an asymmetrical cut, so she's not dating black men. So where are you going in the hood to go to?
This was a casting. This was a casting hiccup. They're like, all right, we got this Esther. We do not know what to do. So throw in a taxi. No one will pick up on that. Nah, we got y'all. We got y'all red-handed.
Man, about to say, come to Big Old Belt. We noticed one of these things does not belong. At least give her an asymmetrical haircut. At least make it look like she hangs with black people.
Jesus.
Other than that, we have questions like, what are you doing, white lady?
Tons. I'm gonna run through a bunch of things now. We see Meech at the video store of his cousin, so he's moving the product out of there, and he's proud because it's working the way he wants it, discreet and just like anybody else.
Deluxe.
Trying to keeping that deluxe.
Same thing LeBron told 2 Chainz to do with his album. Get the deluxe. So
Detective Bryant, hold on. Detective Bryant again making a house call to be Mickey, so there's that. The Flannery family car service. This is rough and feathers from the other folks here. The curb guy, his fee said we're not paying that. The other owners, he said, do not mess up my brochure. But like he's going to do what he wants to do here, and he's going to make not going to say make a scene, but he's going to insert himself into this.
Quick question here, because I don't know if you picked up on it like I did. When they showed the other service and they showed the hood of the car and what that service was, do you think they're connected to a different group of people?
I did not pick that. There was a big zoom in emphasis. I saw the number and I was like, well, I can't doubt that because there's too many 5s there.
Yeah, but there's no need. If it was just a throwaway, there's no need to even zoom in on the name of the company. Who runs that actual company? That's something I think we're going to have to pay attention to down the line because that's going to come back up again.
And what was that guy? And matter of
Italian.
fact,
He seemed like he was Italian.
Yeah.
And that's the first thing I thought, like, maybe this is going to be the introduction to other people, other names we understand that are in the cast. One of them that is connected in the game somehow, some way that we have not seen yet. So maybe the throw off is him being Italian, but maybe he's being connected to someone else. It's just something to pay attention to.
Yeah.
Because that number wasn't shown, and that the name of the company and the number wasn't shown for no reason. It's a reason that was shown.
And it was easily able to identify now. I mean, obviously by the brochure thing, but he was just, he made it. While everybody seems to just be like in line and following orders, there was a moment of defiance from T, but also Cuz coming to T saying, oh, you're him? Okay, cool. Stay out the way. Don't mess things up.
Yep. Don't mess with our brochures ever again. Yeah. He said that he made sure to name his business. Again, it's for a reason that he's doing that.
Yep. Good point. So they Meech. So we got Meech out front of Grandma's house smoking and on the phone. Trying to take a phone call, by the way, because he's trying to figure out what's happening with B Micketing and everything getting there, and his T calling him. Of course he gets whooped. Not smoking that devil's grass on Grandma's porch. Are you crazy?
Smoking that damn reefer on my porch, boy.
But we get Lucille crying. She, talking to her mother about her life and the way she wanted it to turn out. Her and Charles are basically roommates and disappointed. And her mom only said that she's only disappointed when she married Charles to move away, which I'm not sure if that's shade to Charles or just the fact that she lost her baby because they moved.
Yeah, I think it was just the moving away part. Not as much it was Charles, but it was moving away.
Yeah, and she made it very clear that all the things that she was saying about the drugs and all that other stuff, so none of that matters to her. She's already proud of her, as we talked about earlier. So they had the rest of the crew at the music store. They're having a party and whatnot. Which is a lame party. Saki and them, they're just on food time here. This remind me of like 2-Bit and what's his name? Just always on some BS, man. Always on joke time, you know?
Yeah.
But
I had to say Mike Epps and the white boy in Friday After Next.
Yeah.
Pinky
Yeah.
Spot.
Yeah.
That's what it reminded me of. Just two people, you ain't doing shit, you just clowning.
Hey, shout out to Lil Zane, man. Lil Zane out here on getting a season 2 check here, because I was not sure exactly the extent of this character. You know, he had some moments last season, but right now he's definitely just fooling around, being a little bit of comedic relief. But we'll see, because the BMF family, the BMF boys haven't really been able to do much because we're still seeing the establishment of it. So probably a little bit of time, about like episode 4, we'll probably see them get into something. Plus Lamar's on the loose, and we'll see how that what happens with that. But yeah, T comes in and said, "Where's B Mickey?" And obviously because he is aware of these checkpoints being all set up, which is absolutely potentially not just dangerous, but like this could be destructive to everything. And you know, he knows B Mickey's supposed to do the drop. Meech ain't answering the call, or had the call, but he dropped the call. And he's trying to step in to intervene to be able to make everything go good. And this is T thinking 3 to 4 to 5 steps ahead of how he's going to do this. But anyway, I can't believe Saki was on stage. We was having fun till you showed up. Crazy. It's crazy. Just so crazy.
You just ruined our party.
This is so crazy. No hoes in that joint. Hey, in that joint.
Hey, what type of party are y'all having? Matter of fact, just let me go. I'm gonna go. Hey, y'all look, whatever y'all doing in here.
So yeah, T basically understands that with his business in the car, they can go under the radar. So this is him helping Meech and BMF, and you know, the police is not on anybody's like favorites list, but you know, this is just him trying to figure out, you know, how he can do everything. He gets his baby and his baby mom, and they go to Cleveland and whatnot. And the baby mom stepped up even in the moment as well too, when it was kind of saying where you were going and all that other stuff. And they go through the checkpoint, and the cops, which was a very funny line when he said, "Sir, I'm gonna need you to take care of that precious cargo." I was like, okay.
Oh, he was flirting.
Oh, for sure. For sure. He would, yeah.
With a new mama, that's disgusting. She got a whole ass new baby there. He like, man, I hit that.
Yep. But he put all the he put all the drugs inside the formula thing, and they on the way. And this is the part where you, like you said, you know, Meech said fuck you, his way of you know, how he says thank you and all that other stuff. But they get in the house and they say, hey, there's a can missing. They get ready to get that formula ready. And they got the Coke in the bottle, and it's about to be a party. But you know, he steps over. I laughed so hard because I was like, "There's no way they're gonna let this fully play out." But could you imagine?
That would be a tragedy on a level that you are not allowed to show on television. You will not show that baby drinking Coke. Not a chance in hell.
Coke.
Nobody wants to see that, and that's damn near pure Coke. You don't want to see that. No, not at all. Baby turning to Rick James immediately. Fuck your womb, nigga. Fuck your womb. Like, nah, nope. But again, it's just a bit of a comedic break in that very serious moment of what was happening. And sometimes you need those here. Because mama was being a good grandmother. She like, man, let me make my baby a bottle so they can But Infamil and cocaine look absolutely nothing alike. So.
Anywho, so Meech brings the product to Rail and the Cleveland folks, and he said, listen, don't like the terms no more. We're switching up the profit margins. And while they're trying to set up this business deal, my man Rail being disrespectful, just peeing in the quarter. And he said, listen, this is my city, this is my crew. And he says, listen, I'm taking my shit back. And he says, nah, you're not. We keeping it. It is what it is. And you know, everybody, you know, grabbing for the straps, and it is. And he said, listen, we're done here. And then Meech is, all right, I'll be seeing you around. We're back in the police thing, and the detectives are talking about they got a lead on Meech, and the only reason I'm bringing this up is because they says, hey, if you got this type of intel, whoever you're getting this from must be high on the ranks here. and his partner instantly jumps in to save him in this response, which again is showing you the change in how they're going about things from how he used to go about things with Lopez here. So like, understand that his partner steps up to help him, and has his back. Detective Brian got a little bit of got somebody finally who can help him, not something he's had in a while. So good for him. Anywho, what we got next? So
Meech, when he confronts Rail.
Oh, that's right.
Mama bring the groceries in.
All right. And Denise, the new driver, and Charles and Terry talking about they need to communicate better because everybody's having communication problems in this episode. But anyway,
also, Charles is fucking Denise. I'm just putting that out there now. Charles and Denise are together. I'm putting that out there now. It seems obvious to me.
That just makes sense. That's why we got such a big moment with Lucille hugging her and all this other stuff. And
and she had kind of an asymmetrical cut, so she clearly deals with black men. You can tell. That.
Fair enough.
White women with a fancy type of cut, they deal with black men.
Fair enough. So Meech, which innocently looks like he's helping out this lady with groceries, and he's what a gentleman. And usually my son would do something like this, and he goes in the house and Rail's mother here. He's like, hey, before you leave, could you give me a glass of water, please? And he says, listen, since you like surprises, I thought you wouldn't mind if I did this, whatever. And he says, listen, this is what it's going to be. My cousin's going to run shit. You're going to report to him, and that's what it's going to be. Otherwise, it's going to be a problem, and your mom's going to be serving you your own balls. That's just what it is here. And a show, a sign of power, and then, hopefully he returns respect. But it seems like he has this Cleveland little thing set on lock, so we'll see. SWAT team takes the lead, goes to his house, and little do you know, it looks like the 12th Street Boys is who he got, formerly of the 12th Street Boys. So dude tried to jump out the window, and breaks his leg. There it is. But with this win that they kind of get, they didn't get Meech because that's all he cares about now. Meech, James St. Patrick. I mean, at this point,
you already know, man. They don't care about nobody else, man.
Yeah,
he gonna Greg Knox this situation all the way up, Joe.
Yeah, it's just he gonna do what he gonna do what he gotta do, man. But
if it ain't Meech, I don't care. Let them back on the street. They're useless to us.
But I think Detective Jen at some point she's just going to start to realize like, oh, this seems a little bit more personal. This ain't work. It's personal because this is a win. Yeah. You got them real shallow about this.
It's a win. She said we got 2 of them and we got a good amount of drugs. It's still a win.
Yeah,
and she's right. Like in the end, it's still a good thing that you got that because if it was nothing, it would look horrible.
Yeah, but
you got just enough to still make it a win, and you just didn't get who you want to get.
Yep. So Meech heads back to K9's little casino night, his gambling locations, and one thing to pick up on is this other guy that's in the background that's playing not roulette, craps, and he's flirting with K9 girl, and he's loud, all the things that K9 doesn't like. It's very foreshadowing. I'm pretty sure he's gonna be.
Well, it was the message that you gave him to Meech. Always be careful of the guy who is the loudest in the room. That's 100% sure, because you want the most attention.
Yeah,
but it makes me wonder: did Meech pay much attention to that?
No,
because at one point in time he didn't speak a lot, but his actions made him the loudest person in the room.
Yeah. Sorry, maritime for that guy. But anyway, he says, let me show you something after they exchanged the money and whatnot. And he said, looks like we found Cinderella here, the red Nike shooter. And he was caught and K9 got him. And he said, here you go. But I think a line that's going to be very important for the season is this line here. Motherfucker violates, we demonstrate. Then we're going to be hearing that a couple of times. I'm very confident.
It's a great line. It's
sure.
It's an amazing street saying that I've heard a multitude of times. Violate, we demonstrate. It's not something new I've heard, so it's a dope thing to have here though, because it really, again, just dictates how K9 runs his business.
So again, we talk about Lamar. We now see Lamar kind of wounded going through the rain, and he falls on the ground and kind of wondering what's that. We hear the police sirens in the back, so we kind of like, what the hell's going on here? Just to now see that his cousin Alvin, played by Donnell Rawlins, helps him, picks him up, throws him in a hearse, and there you go. He says, I'm right here. So there you go. Looks like he got some help. He's out. He's safe. We'll see what happens next with Lamar. Another B. Mickey and Bryant meet. I mean, it's just getting out of hand here.
At this point, they are family, because he's clearly treating him the way Vin treats family off of Fast and Furious. He shows up to every fucking thing, dude.
I got your mom into a new rehab facility with endless coronas. Family.
Because we're family.
And a new Dodge Challenger.
You gonna start calling B. Mickey Brian. I'm just waiting for it. We there. That's all I'm waiting for.
That'd be too funny. But yeah, he says, we're family, aren't we? And says no one's ever done anything like this for him, especially a cop. Anywho, on the next scene, we got B. Mickey coming to the BMF location, and he says, we all family, because he getting more family talk. He says something we gotta do is we all gotta communicate better. Everybody started to question what's the hierarchy here, and Meech says it's confusing. I mean, Meech didn't say this. They say it's confusing, Meech. Is it Terry or is it you, etc.? Says if it's not me, it's B. Mickey. That's what it is. And Saki again talked about messing up the party, because we needed to know he's still upset about that shit. Charles and Lucille, we talked about Lucille being in the mirror, asked if he liked it, and then this is when everything kind of gets put out on the table. He talks about the porn magazine, the women you fantasize, and sex feels like a chore, and they're just all having a hard time. There's a lot.
She's standing there in her sexy evening dress that they used to consider lingerie in the 80s. Like no Savage Fenty in sight, just long ass nightgown that's supposed to be sexy.
Also from Sears.
See, she fucked up right there.
Nicole out here.
Oh no, Nicole ain't buy her sexy garments too. Damn, mama.
Yeah, Nicole, the real one out here, for real. Nicole out here ain't tricking if you got it. She's out here
saving families, saving lives. She out there, Joe, buying grandma gifts. Got mama a nice new dress.
It's just wildness, man. But Terry and Meech fighting at the movies, and as expected, because that's what they do. But we get the tidbit of family business. Once it gets fucked up, that's when you become your most vulnerable, and that's when your enemies attack. And that is the end of this episode. Anything else you want to throw on there for this episode?
The way Jay-Z put it, nobody wins in the family feud. It's very simple. Oh no, this was just a good episode. Again, 2 for 2 so far this season. Not a lot of big things happen, but enough reveals happen to really hopefully get a grander picture of what we're going to get this season. Because this whole thing with Terry is going to really weigh heavily on what is going to be his next actions, because he still shows so much pride in the point that he helped build BMF, because that's the first thing he said. When we say you got to be in or out, you can't be, he said, you can't tell me about something I helped build. Like, again, it's still that need to separate, and Terry not, I think it goes back to what happened at the end of episode 1 when he found out everybody lied to him, and that's why he stepped away. So now it's that pride factor coming back into, like, this is still something I helped build. And I'm struggling working with a partner now in another business I'm trying to help build, but he won't give me any leeway on how to build it.
Yeah. Well, folks, jump in the comments. Let us know your thoughts about tonight's episode, your favorite moments, predictions for the rest of the season, or just episode 3. And as always, y'all know what it is.
When Nicole get next. That's what we all here for.
What the hell was Kmart before Kmart was Kmart? Hold on, I gotta Google this real quick.
It was I didn't know Kmart was something before it was Kmart. But if you say a name, and I'll probably be like, God damn it, it damn sure was that beforehand.
Kmart, I believe, definitely was something else before it became Kmart, if I'm not mistaken, right?
I remember when Kmart bought Sears out, and then Sears fell under Kmart.
Oh.
Hey man, Kmart was always like the great value version of Walmart. You know, Walmart used to be fancy.
Oh, when Sears bought out Kmart.
Was it Sears bought
Oh,
out Kmart, or
Kmart,
Kmart
Sears.
bought out
Yeah,
Sears? Yeah.
yeah, you're right. Yeah, that's right. That's right. That's right. No, it was always Kmart. It just was a whole bunch of different iterations of these things. Big
Yeah.
K, Super K, Gigantic
Yeah.
K, K plus, K plus
That's when
plus.
that's when they thought they was like gonna run it forever.
Yeah. All right, no more Kmart talk. We out. We'll see y'all back next week, y'all. Thank y'all so much for tuning in.